One reason why I am no longer nervous about starting over again in my 30s. Hi, my name is Beverly. I'm a COO and your Chief Empowerment Officer. And I left corporate to become a creator and help other businesses and people, individuals, empower themselves and empower their organizations. And when I tell you I thought my life was over when I turned 25, like I was so fed up with people telling me, you don't know, oh my God, when you turn 30, everything gets better. I was so tired of people telling that to me because I was like, you don't know anything. Like I'm not young anymore. Y'all, I hate it, but they were right. In my opinion, your 20s should be treated like a shake-off period. Time to shake off all of the things that you were told you couldn't do, so you got to do them all now that you're 20 and young and free and wild and all the things. Shake off all of the environmental pressures and all of the things that you were programmed to believe about yourself from your environment, your family, all those things. Shake all that stuff off. Because by the time you hit 30, y'all, my birthday's in October, I am geeked. I'm excited. Start to feel like yourself again. But like the version of you that you suppressed when you were in first grade. Version of you that people told was too much. The version of you who loved art, or the version of you who loved music, or whatever it is. You start to feel like you, but now you've had some life. And now you may have access to some resources. Now you have the wisdom to be able to shift your life in the ways that you want. If you are looking at this and you are currently in a career that you don't want to be in, but you are pressured to be in because of life and your family or other people or whatever, you can quit. Get out of there. If you are hanging out with people who you feel you are maturing beyond and you are nervous that you won't have friends in your 30s, your friends only get better. They mature like fine wine. Get away from them. I'm telling you, I hate that they're right, but now I'm going to be one of those 30-year-olds that's about to say the same thing. Y'all, it only gets better from here. And like a lot of things get better from here if you get, I'm just saying, a lot of things get better, okay?
Yo, the CEO that's making this wants you to know. Our opinion of you does not matter. Hi, my name is Beverly. I'm a Chief Operating Officer and CEO who scaled operations for over a decade in over 6 fields, and I've worked in over 10. And one thing I want y'all to remember this week is that our opinion of you does not matter. And here's what I really mean. When I would go into interviews when I was in job transition or when I was looking for a new job, everything rode for me on whether or not the leader I was interviewing with liked me. Like I so wanted to make myself as likable as possible, as memorable as possible. And so I would contort my personality to try to meet the vibes of the room. The issue with that is that I would be showing up into these environments inauthentically. And then as I would start to showcase my real personality, which isn't that much different from my interview personality, but it's a lot more exuberant, a lot more bubbly, a lot more energized. Well, if you're in an environment where they don't like that, now comes contention. And the thing about team culture is that often we have conflated team culture with being likable and being the most popular person in the room or the likable person in the room. And the reality is you have just as much of a right to find a culture that matches you as a company has a right to select an employee whose culture and vibe matches them. Great example of this is think about a time where you were at a company where just the vibes were off. It didn't matter what you were doing. It didn't matter how you were doing it. It didn't matter how hard you tried. You were not getting along with everybody. And maybe even your leader and you had some beef and it just wasn't working out, whether they weren't recognizing you, promoting you, celebrating you, whatever. But then as soon as you got to another company, different. People like you for you. They like your interests. They're interested in your interests. Your supervisor is excited about you. They're promoting you. They're celebrating you. They're doing the things that your previous company maybe wasn't doing. And leaders have a lot of audacity. They will tell you to your face like, oh, it's just not really a fit. But sometimes these companies aren't a fit. And so when you're in that situation where you're looking around and going, wait a minute, I'm being celebrated here. That is where I want you to reframe that sometimes it isn't you. And I've gotten a lot of comments on some of my more recent videos as I've gotten new community members, hey, where people are like, well, sometimes it is you and sometimes you are the problem. And sometimes where's that coming from? Where is that coming from? Who hurt you? Because the vast majority of people have been navigating business spaces and corporate spaces with a hand tied behind their back and are doing the absolute best they can with very little resources because it varies depending on what leader you have. Well, yes, our opinions matter because it'll apply to you getting a promotion, like all of those other things. Our opinions are not tied to your worth, and they're most certainly not tied to your value. So just as you are looking for companies and trying to fit alongside their value, make sure you're finding a company and leaders who honor and fit with yours, okay?
If you're somebody who gets queasy before a difficult conversation, let me tell you what's going to help. Number one, have the conversation while you are walking. Why? Because you're not having to look at the other person and keep eye contact because you're looking at where you're going. Second of all, it helps move anxiety. That queasiness doesn't build up. Why? Because you're moving that energy through it. So ask the other person, hey, would you walk with me? It doesn't matter where you go. It just matters that you're walking. Number two, have the conversation outside. Being outside, particularly in a public place, maybe outside of your office building or at a park somewhere, makes you have perspective of life is going to keep moving and the world's going to keep spinning even with this difficult conversation. And number three, one of my favorites, have the conversation while you are eating. It helps because nobody gets hangry, so to speak. It's hard to be angry while you're eating. And also, it helps slow down the conversation because everybody is chewing at the same time and keeps you more regulated. So try that and follow. So remember last year, I just started this account and you asked me if I would write a book on how to communicate. I didn't know the first thing about writing a book. And now I can finally and officially tell you that I have a major book deal with Penguin Random House. I have the same publisher and team as Atomic Habits by James Clear, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, Set Boundaries, Find Peace by Nedra Glover Tawwab. I am speechless. I am floored. I'm grateful. None of it would have happened had it not been for you. Look at what you did. I got 6 months to knock it out. I'm going to put a link in my bio if you want to support it. You want to stay up to date. It's going to be quite the process, but I want you with me every step of it. Just thank you. You take things personally, you are picking up what nobody has asked you to carry. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, where our ego says that other person's action had to have been intended directly towards us, negatively. That negative thought then becomes the negative truth. Now, what I do that helps me in my line of work is I have to remind myself and say the phrase, put it down. Put it down, Jefferson. So when I pick up something personally, I have to put it down. And when I do, I find that my self-confidence goes up. My peace of mind goes up, and there's almost nothing more self-healing about getting these habits that have me want to be generous with giving benefits of the doubt. So try that and follow me. Here are 5 questions you're going to want to ask anytime you want to hire an attorney. Number 1, how often will you update me? The attorney should be updating you on your case, not the other way around. Number 2, what's your response time? You ought to be able to text them and get a response same day. Number 3, where do you personally live? With Google Ads nowadays, I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody hire an attorney only to find out that they're hours and hours away from them and have no idea where they're from. Number 4, who's handling my case? Just because that's the attorney you're talking to doesn't necessarily mean that's the one who's handling your case. Number 5, ask them if they have any type of certification in that practice area. Here in Texas, you can be board certified. You have to meet a very stringent requirement of experience. Apply for an exam, take that exam, pass it, and you become board certified. Not all states have that, but if they have some type of specialty license or certifications, that